You are listening to the Fairways and Fundraising podcast, powered by Golf Event Planning, discussing charity fundraising and successful golf outings, along with tips and tricks of the trade. Now here's your host, Larry Battaglia.
Hello, and welcome to Fairways and Fundraising, powered by Golf Event Planning. I'm your host, Larry Battaglia. This is episode number 26, and today we have remote session, quarantine edition, as we're still going through this pandemic. In New York here, we're in phase 2, slowly coming out of this. So we're talking golf, we're talking about our fall events, and we work with a great organization here on Long Island, the Suffolk Y Jewish Community Center. And today I'm talking with the Executive Vice President of Bartow Insurance, a good friend of mine now for the last few years. He is the golf chairman of this great event that has been going on for years and years. This year, the event is September 17th at the Tam O'Shanter Club in Brookville. We hope to see you there. Let's please welcome Jason Bartow. How you doing, Jason?
I'm good, Larry. How are you holding up?
Yeah, pretty good. Not too bad. Looking forward to getting back out there in the fall. And I think the golfers are starting to get the itch. I know golf courses are crowded right now and everyone's enjoying this great weather. You guys having to move your event from June, which is the month we're in now, to September. Traditionally, it could be some of the best weather of the year in September, hopefully for September 17th.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, if we extrapolate what September will be like based upon the last few Septembers, I think there's a chance for a more enjoyable day in September than in June.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully it gives us some flexibility, as we're probably going to be outside most of the day, and even our dinner program, we have a beautiful patio there at the Tam O'Shanter Club where we'll be able to be outside and social distance, but also provide that great dinner feel that the Suffolk Y golf outing always brings. So let's first, before we get into more of the golf side, so your insurance company, Bartow Insurance, how has it been for you guys these last 3 months in this COVID-19 world?
It's been interesting. Obviously, when the pandemic first hit, there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of questions. There still remain a lot of questions about what is or what is not covered by individual insurance policies. There's still rumblings about what may happen, what may not happen. Even now, there's questions about, okay, what's the liability for me as a business owner if I open up and somebody wants to allege that they got sick on my premises, a third party wants to allege they got sick. So it certainly has been a learning experience to explore the ins and outs of the lesser known exclusions of insurance policies. And on top of all that, locally, we ended up the last 2 weeks with a lot of questions about civil unrest for what's been going on in the city. So it certainly hasn't been boring. I'll say that at least.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wasn't really even thinking that. There's all these liability concerns, and coming out of this, I mean, of course, we have to protect our business spaces and residential spaces, but there can certainly be that uncertainty out there once we start kind of getting back to the new normal.
Look, it's the unfortunate reality of the world we live in, where the first thing you think about is, what am I liable for, instead of I can't wait to open up. But such are the times in which we live. Yeah,
no doubt about it. But hopefully, we'll start figuring this out, start getting back out there. And back to sports. I mean, this past weekend was the first golf tournament on TV. I don't know if you caught any of that, but it felt great just to watch a little bit of competitive sports for a while. Now, your kids are involved in sports activities, right?
Yeah, as my oldest, my 10-year-old, he plays travel youth hockey at a high level. This morning was the first morning that the rink opened up, and he wanted to be the first one on. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, he stepped onto the ice and had his first skating lesson and any sort of activity on the ice in literally 3 months. So I know he was going a little stir crazy and was itching to get back out there. Just for an hour on the ice. When he came off, he was like, "Dad, it's like going home again." So, obviously for golfers who have been just waiting to get out to the course, and obviously the ones who understand the weather break that we usually get, a little delayed here. It does seem like as the courses have opened up and with some new inventions, I think we'll all be getting our rounds in the coming weeks.
Yeah, sports definitely just makes you happy and makes you feel productive and positive. So I can definitely see your son being all excited this morning, getting back on the rink. And hockey, I'll tell you, man, those are some early mornings, huh?
Oh, yes.
He couldn't have chose like football or
Yeah.
something, like
It amazes me because it's the one thing, hockey and swimming, are first thing in the morning, and nobody warns you about that. And then when you have friends with younger kids, like, oh, I think my son or daughter really likes hockey, and you go, oh, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends and clients that have their sons or daughters or whatever it is, or either swimmers or into hockey, and it's like every morning 5 a.m., 5:30 in the pool. I don't envy that, man.
Yeah, it's something.
No doubt. Some golf outing talk now. So I don't know if you know this or not, but I used to work at the Hamlet as a golf professional back in the day, which is the Hamlet Golf and Country Club in Comac, which is right across the street from the Suffolk Y. And I used to work the Suffolk Y golf tournament when it was there at the club as a golf professional on that side. So I always loved that event, and it was just an event that I could relate to.
Yeah.
And now, moving forward 20 something years in the business now, to be able to work with you guys again. Now, this is our second year working with you guys. It's an honor and a pleasure.
It's funny you mentioned, worked at the Hamlet. When I was growing up in the 80s, I went to private school in that building in the JCC, the Suffolk Y JCC. I remember, taking the bus, and we would pass the Hamlet every day. Different time back in the 80s. Then when I went to high school, we had our junior prom at the Hamlet. And then when I got to the JCC, they were doing their golf outings over there. So the Hamlet has a very special place in my heart as well, as a place that I have literally been passing and driving through. And of course, I've been playing since I was a kid. As far as getting to work with you, Larry, and your team, it has been such a positive and wonderful experience. As you and I have talked before, I sit on some other golf committees, and they don't use you. And there is such a difference in the outing, in sort of the day-to-day, or the operations of the outing, the logistics of the outing. What you bring, for those of us like me who are on the operations side, it is instant stress relief to know we're working with you and your team during the process leading up to the outing and the day of the outing itself. It makes things run smoothly. There are no hiccups, and there's a professional like you or someone from your team to make sure that everything does get ironed out. So I am, again, looking forward to working with you on this year's outing.
Yeah, same here, and I appreciate the kind words, but you touched on it. You said it a few times, the word team. It's a team atmosphere. It's teamwork that gets this done. You can't do it without a committee, and at the top of that committee is now Rick Lewis.
Yeah, Rick, our CEO, wonderful business background, business resume, really gets what we as a board of the JCC are trying to accomplish. You really couldn't ask for a better captain of your ship than Rick. People who ask me that, it really is a privilege and an honor to get to serve on a board where he is the CEO of the organization.
Yeah, and it comes right from the top. He has that leadership. He has the incredible skill sense, the responsibility, and the work ethic that I think from the top down, that's where it starts, and it certainly doesn't end there.
For sure. You can see it in the staff at the JCC, the way that they approach their day-to-day tasks and their job. Clearly, they have been instilled with a sense of confidence and a sense of success, and it does all come from Rick.
Yeah, so obviously the JCC, there's many of them throughout the United States. So why don't we just touch on, for those listeners that maybe don't know the great programs of the JCC. We're specifically talking here about the Suffolk County, the Suffolk Y JCC, but why don't we talk about the great programs they do for families?
And, some places, Nassau County, for example, our neighbor, they have multiple JCCs. We are the only JCC in Suffolk County in Comac. Our JCC, we like to say that we have programming available for people of all ages. We have our early child care for infants through pre-K. We have academic enrichment programs. We have learning. We have Olympic-sized pool. We have gyms. We have lessons if you're personal training. We do classes like spin classes. And by the way, during this quarantine, a bunch of our classes have been offered for free on like Facebook Live, sort of keep people engaged, help them with the choices they've made in their life. We have a full array of senior programming. And actually, during this pandemic, we've been one of the places that Suffolk County has used to do meals for seniors. We have a boutique Israeli cafe in the JCC, and we have been providing meals for seniors or people who are in need since the very beginning of the outbreak.
That's incredible. Probably busier than ever now, I would say.
On the one hand, you want to say it's great that we're able to serve the community. On the other hand, it also opens your eyes to the fact that there are that many seniors who are in need. Some of them are just because when the quarantine hit, they didn't have anybody near them, or their families were in other parts of the country or other parts of the state that normally may come in once in a while and just haven't been able to do so. So I am glad that we're able to serve that segment of the population. It's just, here's hoping that eventually that need does sort of work its way out on its own.
And that's why the events are so important, the fundraising efforts like the golf outing, because you're really helping people in the community. And now more than ever, they need our help. So the event on September 17th at the Tam O'Shanter Club is one that we're certainly looking forward to. It'll be one of the first few events that people will be going to, or at least looking to go to, as we come out of this. But again, the website, for those that are interested in supporting, is SYJCC.org. They're also on Instagram and Facebook at Suffolk YJCC. How did you get started volunteering and helping out the organization?
Yeah, like I said earlier, when I was a kid growing up in the 80s, there was a private school that was housed at the JCC, and I attended it from first grade through eighth grade. It no longer exists; it's closed. But while I was a student, my family, we were members there. We used the pool, we used the gym. They had after-school activities that I was involved with, and it really was a nice complement and a nice enhancement to my regular schooling and my regular school day. When I started a family of my own, my wife, who's not from around here, went shopping for an early child program. And while she looked at some other places and some of the other franchises, she fell in love with what the JCC had to offer. It wasn't just a daycare that represents glorified babysitting. They had academic programs, they had cultural programs, they had enrichment programs. And so it made her feel very comfortable that her firstborn was going to be growing up in that building, in that environment. 3 children later, all 3 of my kids went through early childcare there. I got involved. They reached out to me about doing some volunteer work. I just want to go back to something you said earlier about organizations. I don't think a lot of people understand from a budgetary standpoint why these events are so important. If you were to make a pie chart of what an agency's budget is, and I think most people assume that everything you spend on your budget is covered by membership dues. And I think it's very eye-opening for anybody if they look at what the membership dues, what percent membership dues represent in any association's annual budget, because it's nowhere near as large as everyone assumes that it is. It's through philanthropic endeavors like the golf outing that allows places like the JCC to close the gap in our budget process. By having golf outings and by doing fundraising, it allows us, the better we do, the more we're able to provide. I know you work with a bunch of organizations. I think they'll say the same thing, that if there's one thing that we'd all love people to understand, it really is just that these events don't exist because we're just looking to raise as much money as possible to put in the bank. It really exists because we have, as charities, we have to make sure that we're able to run the programs that we want to run, that we think that the community needs us to run. And So events like a golf outing really are essential in making sure that we have the resources to do that.
That's a great point, and it is so true. These events are essential to these non-for-profit organizations to really keep things moving and keep helping those in the community. You can sign up for the golf outing on their website. It's SYJCC.org, and also follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Suffolk YJCC. Let's talk about our advertiser. You know, I usually record and edit this podcast in my home office. And when I work, I need to get in the zone. For me, I feel more productive when I wear a collared shirt. But you're crazy if you think I'm going to put on a heavy cotton button-down shirt. I need to be comfortable if I'm working for a long period of time. Recently, through a friend of mine, I got connected to this new brand called Tillinger. They make my new favorite polo shirt. It's soft, breathable, and uses higher quality performance fabric, so I'm more comfortable. Work in it, golf in it, play in it, anything you want. No logo either, so you don't look like you just got off the golf course. Right now, they're donating 10% of every purchase to COVID-19 relief. I can't recommend them enough. Their website is shoptillinger.com. That's shop TILLINGER.com. Check them out. Jason, talking about the golf outing, we're talking about a fun day too. It's not just an event. I mean, there's so many great things going on during the event. A couple of years ago when we had our last one, we had a long drive professional out there on one of the holes, hitting long drives for all the players on a par 5 hole, getting them within 100 yards of the green.
Yeah, very entertaining fellow too. You know, really to watch him hit those drives. You know, if you ever sat and you watch some golf on TV and he has a really long drive, 320, 330. This guy's bombing them way past that and cracking jokes the whole time.
Yeah, and he took it over the trees and oh man,
he was fantastic. And again, these are the kind of things that, working with you and your team, we're able to provide for people who come to our golf outing. Not only like the long driver, but the outings I've gone to where you have coordinated them. We've had the food tasting from top-notch restaurants. We've had the Cuban cigar van. We've had the top-notch liquor tasting. Really enhances the event. You know, one thing you want as a golf outing chair is you want people coming up to you at the end of the day saying, what a memorable day. I'm never going to forget it, right? And short of that player hitting a hole-in-one, it's the experience between what they get on the green and what they get afterwards that makes them remember the outing. And what you bring to the table for an association like ours, you really help us to create an event that people walk away from saying, I don't want to miss this event next year. And they tell their friends, listen, I know you get tons of invites to golf outings, but when the SYJCC puts their outing out, make sure you get it on the calendar. It's one you don't want to miss.
Yeah, it starts at check-in. They get there, maybe they get a Bloody Mary, check in digitally. In this case, it might be remotely on their phone, but very convenient and easy, and it eases them into the day. So it's a nice event experience. Maybe there's some decent swag. We're just going to now get back into planning with our great committee and the team and figure out exactly what we're going to do as we start getting these registrations in. So that is still yet to be determined, but it starts when they check in, when they get out on the golf course. There's some fun activities out there, but then when they get back in after golf, then the fundraising part kicks in.
Yeah, and one of the things I like too is, as I'm sure you know, there are organizations out there that offer to enhance your golf outing. And only so far have I found that you and your organization takes the time to really get to know who we are, what our mission is, why we're trying to raise money. And then you come to the table with helpful suggestions for us. There's a check-in, get a little bag of swag, and you guys provide things that, again, it opens eyes, it makes people happy. Once the round is over, they come inside, people shower up, change, and then you have the opportunity for normally you'd have the opportunity for networking and then the silent auction pieces. A little different this year, I think, with the protocols that will be in place as far as how close you can stand to people or how many people you can have in a given area, a certain radius. But again, because of our working with you, I am so confident that whatever those protocols are going to be, we're going to put together an outing that is still fantastic, still going to be memorable, and to the point where no one's going to say, remember that outing in 2020 where you couldn't even sit at the table with your friends? So I'm very confident that whatever protocols are put in place on the club, you'll help us to create an event that will still be a major success.
Yeah, we hope so. And again, we're very passionate about what we do, but we love working with organizations like yours because you guys are so passionate about trying to help these people in the community and provide these programs that you're talking about for families. So it's awesome to work with an organization like that. And it starts with the committee now volunteering their time to help put this together, to create that team environment between raffle sellers, between soliciting for auction prizes and then getting golfers there. I mean, we can't do this alone, none of us. And it starts there and also with the sponsors.
Absolutely. When you throw an event and word gets out that your event is successful, it helps in your fundraising events because, then you get companies who want to be sponsors, right? They want their name attached to that event. You get people who want to donate to the auction because they want their products being seen by the people who come to our events. It's such a process that perpetuates itself. The more success you have, the more success you're going to create down the road. So once again, it all comes back to the event itself and what the post-event thoughts and comments are. It allows us to, like for this year already, you already have some people who have already begun to ask, hey, when am I going to be able to sign up for a sponsorship? Because of our reputation of the event that we have, they already want their name associated. So it's nice to know that people want their logos and names attached to yours. And it just represents, I think, a reaffirmation that what you're doing is successful.
And the save the date will be going out shortly. And then next month in July, we'll have the invitation out and then it'll be all systems go. And we have a great honoree this year as well. Every year you always have an honoree, and this year it's Seth.
Yeah, Seth Kobe from Majestic Property Management. Very nice man, very warm man, very passionate golfer. We talked about the committees before. So obviously, because of the situation we're in, our committee meetings have all been virtual. They've been by Zoom. What a presence he is on our meetings. He adds a great sense of humor. One of our committee members is a regular partner in his foursomes. So the banter goes back and forth throughout most of the meeting. It's an enjoyable time that we have. Not only is it something that we're productive with by getting our meetings accomplished, but it does bring us back to the fact that having people like that who are invested in the event, who are invested in the agency. I mean, for me as a board member, this is what it's all about. It's all about people wanting to get involved and wanting to help.
Yeah, and if you're having a golf outing out there, having an honoree is something you might want to consider, because when you have an honoree, you have the opportunity, one, to thank an individual for all the great support over the years, but also, two, that some of their colleagues, business partners, vendors, and friends might come and support the organization, which might be people that you haven't been able to access previously.
For sure. And I think that one of the things that sometimes it holds certain events back is, especially for sometimes either newer organizations or smaller organizations, sometimes they're afraid to make the ask. They're afraid that if they ask someone to be the honoree, that the response they're going to get is, okay, how much do I have to raise for your organization? And I think that it shouldn't be a deterrent, because if you're confident in what your association is doing and what your charity is doing, you'll find that people want their name attached to it. And especially, as you said before, people who have been good for you and they've helped you, is a chance to acknowledge them, is a chance to broaden the partnership. And yeah, people who are connected to businesses, and it doesn't have to just be business owners, right? I mean, if any people who work in business have their connections, have their relationships, and Usually when you have an honoree, the honoree has no problem passing on the event information to their partners, to the people they have relationships with, because we're human beings. And it's nice when you get recognized and you want others to see that you're being recognized, especially when you say, well, geez, I want to raise as much money for the charity as I can. So absolutely, I'll blast out the invitation or the sponsorship list, what's available. Honorees make an event go because it does, as you said before, it opens doors you probably might not have had open to you before because of who they know.
Again, you can sign up for the golf outing on the website at SYJCC.org. And again, follow them on Instagram and Facebook at SYJCC. Jason, you're a busy guy. You know, we talked about your son playing hockey and early mornings and, you know, executive vice president of Bartow Insurance and all the challenges now with the COVID-19 response and protecting your customers and clients. But being golf chairman, that's a big responsibility too. I mean, what is it like? Not every golf outing do they necessarily assign a golf chairman, but it's your leadership there at the top that really, you know, sets this in motion.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I have been to a number of outings that I felt have been massively successful, and I've been to some outings that I was disappointed in. And because of my passion for the Suffolk SYJCC, I really wanted to make sure that having our golf outing would be one of the events that if I were to attend as just an attendee, that I'd walk away from saying, what a successful event, what a great time. The work that we do really, and you said it before, it really does go back to our committee. We have a wonderful committee of people, and it runs the gamut from, we have one woman who's been on our golf committee for, I think, for as long as we've been having golf outings. And we have some people who are past presidents of the association, and we have some people who are doing committee work for the very first time. Everybody's excited. Everybody buys into the idea that making the golf outing a success is a priority. It makes my life as a chairman pretty easy. We like to say, you know, we get credit, but the real work is done by the committee and the volunteers. So as long as everybody is on the same page and we all buy into what it is we want the day to be, then the event is successful. And that to me is the most important thing.
Yeah, and that committee that you're referring to, I mean, great individuals, always giving their time, unselfish, and you don't necessarily, you know, when you're on a committee, it's not always about, well, you know, how many golfers do you know? There's other roles and responsibilities that can be filled by any committee member. We're talking getting raffle prizes, maybe getting donations, maybe getting people to come to the dinner or certain things like that. But it's not always about how many golfers does each person know on the committee.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can't stress enough for anybody who listens to your podcast that it's not necessarily the size of the committee, it's who is on the committee. You really want to make sure that the people who are working with you on your committee are just as passionate as you are about not just golf, because you want to have, you know, a successful event, but they're as passionate about the agency that you are involved with. At the end of the day, this whole thing is about raising funds for that agency. Yeah. And, you know, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, no doubt. I remember a couple of years ago, it was almost like a competition between two committee members trying to get as many foursomes that they could get there. They were each day trying to outdo one another. And that's the type of passion and type of work ethic that you want out of your committee.
Absolutely. And if I can just go back to what I said about you and your team before, that's what makes working with you guys so spectacular. It allows the committee, it frees up the committee members the time to go and do that, the time to go and engage the people that they know. We don't have to worry about what supplier is bringing what item. We don't have to negotiate with the club about, okay, do you want to have roast beef or do you want to have corned beef? All that stuff is all taken care of by you guys. And it really allows us to maximize our efforts to get attendees and to get sponsors. And so certainly, again, I can't even begin to fathom what our event would be like if we weren't working with you.
Well, I appreciate, again, the kind words. If you want to sign up for this golf outing, it's a great event, September 17th at the Tam O'Shanter Club. The website is SYJCC.org. And again, follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Suffolk SYJCC. We hope you like this episode. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review. We appreciate it. Jason, I think it's important to touch on this too it is a Jewish organization.
Yes.
There may be some questions about kosher options for the event.
Yeah, so in an effort to reach as many people as possible, our event goes kosher style, and we do have kosher meals available for people who have strict observance.
And for those that don't know, what is kosher style?
Kosher style means that we won't have any food that is considered not kosher. There's no pork, there's no shellfish, but the food that may be there might not be chicken. Like the chicken may not be kosher chicken, but you won't have chicken wrapped in bacon.
Okay. So again, though, if someone does need a kosher option, we're certainly going to be able to provide that for them. I can tell you, I'm certainly looking forward to it. I think a lot of people are, more so than ever now. And now as we're slowly coming, out of it, we're in phase 2, soon to be in phase 3, that by the time we get to September, hopefully we'll be sharing golf carts and back out on the course and being able to provide a pretty awesome event while still adhering to some of the social distancing guidelines.
We're absolutely hoping that sooner than later. I'm looking forward to seeing people out on the course, on the green, where once again, I look forward to being made fun of for shanking tee shots.
Well, there's one thing, though, about these fall events. We've had clients that have just mailed it in for the year, and their event now is not until 2021. So I think that when, September rolls around, there's going to be less golf outings, of course, going on in the area where certain individuals maybe that are looking to contribute or looking to get out and play somewhere with some clients or some friends and help a great organization, that there'll be less competition and maybe we'll be able to attract them to our event with the reputation of how great the event is and also the great community work of the Suffolk Y.
Well, I'd like to hope so. Certainly, I think you're right. I think that with the way the spring unfolded, a lot of people did cancel their outings, and a lot of people felt that if they couldn't get it in before whatever date they had scheduled, they would postpone it till next year. So we do have plenty of spots open. Registration will be open. You gave us the website, and certainly if anybody has questions, my email, I'll give my work email out so people can always ask me, is Jason, Jason, at Bartow Insurance, B as in boy, A-R as in Robert, T as in Thomas, O-W, the word insurance spelled out.com. That's Jason at bartowinsurance.com. If you have any questions about the outing, about the JCC, about getting involved, whatever it may be, and anything about insurance, you can feel free to give me an email. I tell people that I'm married to my wife and I live with my smartphone, so I'll be able to get back to you in short order.
That is a great way to put it. I'll make sure we have all the links in our show notes too, so you can contact us or Jason about this great event or any of your insurance needs. One more thing before we go. What a great auction you guys have as well. I mean, you usually get some great auction experiences for the event, concert tickets, things like that. In this case, might be in 2021 when they'll be able to go to these events, but I can just see some of these great auction experiences at the event. So if you want to participate and you want to come to the event, you might be walking out of there with some great prizes.
Listen, even off of the grand prize items, I think, like you mentioned, the concert tickets. I think we had a luxury automobile weekend. Some of our smaller items too. We've had gift certificates. We've had fine liquor baskets, a bourbon basket, a craft whiskey basket, experiences, trips, themed baskets. Everything that comes together really is worthwhile. And people who come away with our auctions, we usually get some kind of post-event acknowledgement, how great the raffle prize winner felt, how great the items were. And sometimes you don't even get to see in the basket how many things are in the item itself. So it really turns out nice. And thank you for mentioning it, because yes, we do try to put together a really nice array of prizes for people to win. Like, as you said before, sometimes people aren't golfers. Sometimes they only come for the dinner. Sometimes they only come for the auction. So we try to make sure that the prizes that are available can suit the needs of an eclectic array of people to be able to feel comfortable bidding and hopefully trying to win those prizes.
And something else too that you guys do, not every event does it, is you do a digital journal. So if you have a company out there that wants to get their name out there or show their support for the Suffolk SYJCC, they can do it through the digital journal.
I love the digital journal. For years in my office, I have a bookshelf that sits with journals of events from the late 90s, early 2000s. You know what they do? They collect dust. Nobody opens them up. Nobody looks at them, right? But with a digital journal, it's minimal space out in the cloud somewhere. It's got every logo, everything you could ask for. And what I really like with digital journal is you could enhance it with photos from the event, right? You have a published journal, there's no pictures of the event. When we were all kids in high school and you got your senior year yearbook and they would mail you the senior supplement, maybe, with the events that took place after the publication date. What I love in the digital journal that you can have photos from the event along with your key sponsors having their pages. That's the kind of thing people do review again and again and again. So the digital journal, and listen, you save the cost of printing, which to me, it just, again, that eats at your bottom line. So the digital journal to me is a necessary item. It's a wonderful improvement over the traditional dust collectors that go to people's bookshelves. And it really, again, it's an enhancement to the event.
Yeah, and you touched on it. It is about the bottom line. I mean, we're talking about an event that, there's certain costs that are involved. Putting this on and getting some of these great prizes and maybe getting the swag and that long drive pro out there and maybe the photographer to do the photos and everything. But when you can provide a digital journal that cuts down on your costs, but also provides that more updated feel and more of a techie feel to your event, that's definitely the way to go. And another great thing that you can do with that digital journal is you can send it out via email or put it up on the website for those people that did sponsor and did contribute to that digital journal that maybe weren't at the event.
Absolutely. And if they want to take that and run with it and show everyone that they were a sponsor and show the ad and show pictures from the event that represent what they want their brand associated with, absolutely. And it's such an enhancement over a printed item because it's not, just for the people who go to the event. It's for everybody who's involved one way or another. So getting the digital journal, once again, we talked about expanding your influence, right? You're growing your spheres of influence and opening doors that you might not have had open to you before. You may have somebody who sponsors because they're a friend or a partner of the honoree. They're showing somebody, hey, look, here's the outing. We were a sponsor. That person says, that association, I've been looking for that kind of program. That's a need I have in my life. Now you found somebody, you're going to connect with them. And again, without the outing, without the digital journal, without the honoree, none of that would be possible. So that's why, sometimes when it comes to these golf outings, what do they say, right? It's like throwing a pebble into the water. The pebble itself sinks, but the ripples expand far beyond where the pebble landed. So sometimes with these golf outings, it really is just throwing a pebble, and then the ripple reaches far out, and you find people connecting with you who otherwise never would have even known you existed.
What a great analogy. The ripple effect, we're going to call it. And actually, maybe we can put Jason's name on that one. That is so true.
But for golf outings, we'll just call it sinking your ball in the water hazard.
And there are a few water hazards at the Tam O'Shanter Club. Let's hope that doesn't happen to you that day, Jason. Again, you could sign up for this great golf outing on the website. It's SYJCC.org. Again, follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Suffolk SYJCC. You touched on it, Jason, and it's so true. You can't do it without the sponsors. You guys reward them with the digital journal and the signage on the course that we do for you. But I have to say that, not every golf outing do people really appreciate the sponsors like you guys do.
Well, look, when somebody invests, because that's what a sponsorship really is, right? It's an investment. When somebody invests in you and your organization, you want to make sure that they're comfortable and they feel properly recognized for that investment, especially right now where the checkbooks may not be as free as they were in the last couple of years, and people are going to be watching their money. If someone takes the time to partner and invest with you, then you have to make sure that they're recognized, because it means so much. It means they care about you. It means they want that association with you. And so you have to turn around and make sure that they know that it's not taken for granted. And you can't say thank you enough when somebody writes you that check or sends in that sponsorship or donation, for the outing. So we really go out of our way to make sure people realize that if you partner with us, we are going to keep saying thank you till you're tired of hearing from us.
Yeah, the SYJCC partners with you. So consider signing up for their golf outing September 17th at the Tam O'Shanter Club. Again, you can go to the website to register. You can contact me or Jason. We'll have all the links in the show notes for you to register. Maybe you've never played the Tam O'Shanter Club, or maybe you have, and you say, that's a great track, and I want to get out there and play in the fall when the weather is just absolutely perfect for a golf outing. So we hope that you can come out and support this great organization, the Suffolk SYJCC. Jason, we really appreciate your time today. Life has been hectic for everybody, and I know that you have a busy schedule, so I appreciate you taking a little time out to talk about the Suffolk Y.
Listen, it's been my pleasure, Larry. My only thing is that I love working with you guys, and I would encourage every organization, if they're on the fence about what to do when they have their outing, to reach out to you. Just remember us who were there early on when you have to book 3 outings on the same day. Again, because I cannot stress enough, working with you, your team, your partners, it really does translate into event success.
Well, thank you, Jason. You guys, as I mentioned earlier, always have a special place with us because of my longstanding history with the organization when I was at the Hamlet Golf and Country Club back in the 90s. So thanks again. Good luck to you coming out of this, you, your family. I'm glad everyone's staying safe and healthy and sane during all this. And we'll get working on this golf outing right away.
I am very much looking forward to it, Larry. Thank you. And again, hopefully you and your family all stay safe. And as you said, the key word is sane.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Okay. Thanks for listening. Ciao, ciao for now.
Thank you for listening to the Fairways and Fundraising Podcast, powered by Golf Event Planning. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and please remember to subscribe, rate, and review.